Let's get right into it. Today's explainer has one highly practical goal, and that is mastering how to confidently describe your daily routine and your free time in English. Whether you're, making small talk with a coworker, meeting a totally new friend, or maybe you just want to feel a bit more grounded in your everyday conversational skills, being able to smoothly explain your day, it's an absolute game changer. So get comfortable, focus up, and get ready to actually speak out loud with me.
Okay, let's dive into this. Do you want to talk about your daily routine in English without hesitating? Without constantly searching your brain for the right words? If the answer is yes, well, you are in the exact right place. This explainer is totally hands-on. We aren't just going to sit here and stare at words. No, we are going to practice together. I want you actively listening, and seriously, I highly encourage you to speak out loud wherever you are right now. Just go for it.
Section 1. Essential Patterns. 4 Building Blocks.
So, to build up that conversational fluency, we're going to use a scaffolding approach. Think of it like a giant puzzle, and these 4 essential patterns are your corner pieces, the absolute foundation of your daily narrative. All right, our first foundational block is the phrase, I usually. This is your absolute go-to pattern to describe habitual actions, those things you literally do almost every single day on pure autopilot. It's the perfect starting point. I'm going to say it, and I want you to repeat it right after me. Ready? I usually. Excellent.
Now let's see how this actually builds into complete thoughts. Remember, practice speaking these aloud right along with me. Here we go. I usually wake up at 6 a.m. I usually exercise in the morning. I usually have breakfast at home. I usually study in the evening. See how smooth that feels by locking in that I usually phrase right at the start? You don't even have to stress about the grammar for the rest of the sentence. You literally just attach your action to the end of it. Boom, done. It's incredibly efficient.
And that brings us right to our second pattern. I often. Now, while usually is fantastic for your rigid day-to-day schedule, I often is perfectly tailored for describing frequent actions. It links up beautifully to the things we choose to do in our free time. It tells whoever you're talking to about your hobbies, the fun stuff, without making you sound like some robot just reading off a calendar.
Let's see this one in action and begin to build out a much more personal narrative. Repeat after me again. I often read books. I often watch YouTube videos. I often spend time with my family. I often go for a walk. Right, so here's the crucial takeaway. By simply switching out the word usually for often, you've subtly signaled to your listener that you're sharing a piece of your personal life. You're talking about what actually brings you joy rather than just listing out your strict daily chores.
Moving right along, let's introduce our third pattern. This one focuses specifically on how to describe the activities that fill up the very first part of your day. The pattern is, I spend my mornings. I love this one because it's a wonderfully native-sounding structure. It elegantly groups all your early activities together into one smooth, sweeping phrase.
Now, what's really interesting about this is the verb form that comes right after our pattern. The action verb actually takes an ing at the end. Let's practice this together and really emphasize that ing sound. I spend my mornings studying. I spend my mornings exercising. I spend my mornings commuting. I spend my mornings reading the news. Actually, scratch that. It's more like a rhythm you get into. But honestly, that tiny little grammatical shift, it makes your spoken English sound incredibly polished and super advanced.
Okay, let's flip to the other end of the day. Our fourth and final foundational block is after work. This pattern seamlessly anchors the end of our daily timeline. It acts like a crystal clear transition phrase in your story. It basically tells your listener, hey, the obligations of the day are completely done, and we are officially moving into my personal evening time.
Let's review some after-work examples. I'm going to pace my delivery here so you have a second to mentally repeat the phrases and really lock them into your memory. After work, I relax. Which, let's be real, is easily the best part of the day, for sure. After work, I spend time with my family. After work, I watch movies. After work, I go to the gym. Just by slapping that short 2-word phrase, after work, onto the very beginning of your sentence, you instantly give your listener a clear sense of time and structure. It's like magic.
Section 2. Conversation Practice, Real-Life Application.
All right, so we've got our 4 building blocks ready to go. But we don't just speak in isolated, standalone sentences out in the real world, do we? Let's shift gears into practical application. This brilliantly illustrates a natural ping-pong conversation using our new patterns. Let's read through it together. Someone asks the question, what do you do in your free time? You give your answer using our second block, I often read books. And then they reply, that's great, I often watch documentaries.
Do you see how incredibly simple that is? You absolutely do not need complex, confusing grammar to have a really meaningful exchange. By mutually understanding and just using that simple I often structure, two people can instantly connect over shared hobbies.
Section 3. A complete routine, the master story.
Now for the ultimate test, it is time to tie all 4 of those building blocks together into one fluid, start-to-finish master story. Let's follow a chronological timeline and narrate this complete day in the life story of a teacher. I want you to listen to how these individual separate sentences link together into a totally cohesive narrative. Here we go. I usually wake up at 6 a.m. I spend my mornings exercising and reading. I currently work as a teacher. After work, I spend time with my family. At night, I watch videos and then go to sleep. Wow, that is fantastic. Look at what you've just accomplished there. You took very basic patterns, I spend my mornings, after work, and you've woven them all together to tell a complete, engaging story about a person's entire day. It flows beautifully.
Section 4. Now it's your turn. Build your routine.
So, we've broken down the key patterns, we've practiced the pronunciation out loud, and we've seen exactly how they all fit together into a master story. Now, I'm turning the spotlight directly onto you. I want you to think deeply about it for a second. What do you usually do every day? Not the teacher from our example, not your friends, but you. How does your day begin? How do you choose to spend your free time? And how do you wind down when the day is finally done?
I want you to take that reflection and actually put it into practice right now. Write your answer out using these specific prompt frameworks we just mastered today. I usually, I often, and after work, I. Craft your routine and share it with us in the comments. Remember, our daily habits literally define who we are. So if your routine is a direct reflection of your life, what does the story you just wrote say about you? Thank you so much for joining me for this explainer. Keep practicing those patterns, and I'll catch you next time.